Praise God. All them kids back there saying we have to listen to him every morning. Hallelujah. Amen. You know, there were so many nice things said about me. I sat back there and went, man, I hope they don't roll my casket in here any moment. That's not the same guy I know when I wake up and look in the mirror every morning. And that's sure not the same guy my wife knows. Hallelujah. But I do appreciate all the wonderful comments said. And, you know, it's just a prayer of mine. And it's been this week. From the moment I was asked to come and minister this afternoon, that God, I just pray that you use me the way you want.
Yeah.
And hallelujah, if you have your Bibles, turn with me to the book of 2 Kings. 2 Kings chapter 5. 2 Kings chapter 5, starting at verse 1. Amen. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. Joshua, Judges, Ruth. 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings. Hallelujah. 2 Kings chapter 5, starting at verse 1. If you're there, say amen. Amen. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
I'm going to read a few verses this afternoon. Now Naaman, captain of the host of the king of Syria, was a great man with his master and honorable, because by him the Lord had given deliverance unto Syria. He was also a mighty man in valor. But he was a leper. And Assyrians had gone out by companies and had brought away captive out of the land of Israel a little maid, and she waited on Naaman's wife. And she said unto her mistress, would God, my Lord, were with the prophet that is in Samaria, for he would recover him of his leprosy. Ladies and gentlemen, if I had a title for this sermon this afternoon, it'd simply be, I know someone who knows what to do for you. Yeah. Hallelujah. Amen. Praise God. Jenna said, do you care if I get videotape for YouTube? I said, well, A, if anybody's willing to watch it, you can videotape. But B, I'm a moving target. So I may get up and move around because it's harder to stone somebody walking around a church. Amen. Yeah. So, you know, I'm going to get on the move here just in a second. You know, the biggest thing that prevents people from coming to know Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior is pride. The number one thing that causes people to destroy their lives, to destroy their souls, to destroy their families, to destroy their jobs, is a 5-letter word that everybody's been guilty of. Amen. It's what caused Satan to fall from heaven. It's what caused people to turn their backs on God. It's what causes people to reject the absolute greatest love that anyone can be offered. And I find it amazing that I read years ago back in Iowa when they had the death penalty, that this man sat on death row. And it was at the 11th hour to where they're getting ready to pull the switch. They're asking you what you want to eat, and you get to ask for a steak dinner or whatever you want to ask for. And that man's mother went before the governor of that state and said, Your Honor, I'm not coming to you because my son's innocent. I know what he did was wrong. I know that my son committed murder. And he deserves what is going to happen to him today. I'm begging you, out of love, to spare my son's life. The governor made a decision. He's going to give that young man a pardon. And he sends a messenger to the prison just as fast as he can speedily get it there. Police sirens blazing, tearing the interstate up, just to bust into that prison and hand that gentleman a pardon. And as he walks back to the man's cell, and it's just hours before the switch is going to be thrown, he said, Sir, I've got great news for you. The governor of this great state has pardoned you and you get to live. And he said, I don't want it.
Foolish. And
that's exactly what happens every time somebody says no to Jesus Christ. Now this little story here, you know, I could talk about Naaman a lot, and I will talk about him. But I think about a little girl, about 12 years old, 13 years old, 14 years old, 15 years old, 16 years old, taken captive by an invading nation. The subject of what you would call today human trafficking. Another country comes in and steals her from her mother and father. And I can't parents would be going through. My daughter was taken captive by an enemy country, and I may never see her again. And the torment and the fear that would wrestle with those minds. Let alone this little girl. Never done anything wrong with anybody. And because of people's selfishness and sin and hatred, and life was snatched up by somebody and changed for the rest of her life. Every indication is that she loved God with all of her heart. She was consecrated. She knew the Word of God. Unlike most of the people in the nation she lived in, she knew that Elisha was a man of God. Because at that point in time, Israel was about as backslidden as they could become. Amen. It's amazing. This country that God had by every sign and miracle had brought out of Egypt. He sent plagues of flies and locusts and darkness and hail until the point that the Egyptians said, just get out. We don't want to see you anymore. And as God parted the Red Sea and brings them across the desert, provides for them miraculously. And then gives them a promised land and says, wherever you put your foot, you're going to own. To get to the point where you shake your fist in God's face and say, we don't want you anymore. And we read that, and as much as I am saddened, I look around this nation today and I can't tell that we're doing any better. Amen. This little girl who's taken captive. You know, sometimes the hardest thing as a believer is when you're going through a trial and you're going through trouble and it seems like everything's coming against you and you don't have answers and God doesn't tell you why. What do you mean God doesn't tell me why? Sometimes the why I wouldn't understand. Sometimes the why I couldn't comprehend. Sometimes the why I wouldn't be ready for the answer. The why was simply because it's not because of your lack of faith that you're going through this trouble. It's because you've got faith. Amen. Faith has to be tested. And great faith gets tested greatly. Amen. A little girl stuck in a position in a place where most of us would have just sat in a corner and sucked our thumb and said, oh my Lord. Why did you allow this to happen to me?
Come on, Todd.
Why did you don't love me anymore, God, because I'm going through a trial right now. You don't care about me anymore, God. You know, I've heard some people testify right now, and I'm sure that when they were going through what they were going through, it wasn't a real pleasant experience. But I'm telling you, there is no testimony without a test. Amen. And when God does permit us to go through a trial or a test, it's for one simple reason. He's not trying to wash us out. He's trying to make you into some kind of spiritual Navy SEAL. Come on. Yeah. What do you mean? You know, it's been 100 years and 100 pounds ago that I was in the Army. Hallelujah. And I just remember, you know, reading about the Navy SEALs and all the things that they had to go through and some of those other elite Special Forces unit. They put a bell right in the middle of the compound. Anytime you want to quit, you just go there and ring the bell. Jesus asked Peter, come on, Peter, are you going to leave me like the rest of them right now? Lord, you're the only one that's got eternal life. Amen. Where am I going to go?
Yeah.
What am I going to do? This little maid was put through a test that most of us serving God 50 years wouldn't be able to handle. And was for a purpose. Lord, what? There's so many people sitting in churches. It's like this little old lady sitting in the back pew, and everybody was standing up testifying about how God brought them through battles and trials and troubles, and how the devil threw everything their way, but God was victorious. And she stands up again and says, I don't bother the devil, and he don't bother me. And sadly, most people in church sitting on a pew, if we're not doing much for God, the devil's really not too afraid of my testimony in my face. You know what? And the situation simply is, If you step out and want to be used by Jesus Christ, expect the test.
Amen.
Expect the trial. Sometimes it comes from within your own house. This girl's taken captive and thinks, what testimony do I got in a foreign nation, in a foreign country, in a foreign land? I'm 13, 14, 15 years old. I have nobody in my family around. I am nothing.
But she has testimony.
Except I believe in God.
Yeah.
And then this man named Naaman. Boy, Naaman would be on the posters today. Be on the billboards. He'd be on Fox News and CNN as being this powerful, famous, rich, wealthy, honorable military hero.
Yeah.
Naaman was somebody not to be trifled with.
Yeah.
Naaman commanded a country's armed forces and defeated other countries around him. He was someone that wasn't afraid of anything, except there comes a point in time in your life where you discover you're human and you don't have answers for your life outside of Jesus Christ.
Amen.
Yes.
I go back to this pride because I don't care who you are or where you've been. You have to come to the place where you're at the end of yourself.
Yeah.
Many times before you accept Jesus Christ.
Come on, Todd.
Bless you, Lord.
I don't know why Naaman, I find him so interesting. Joe talked about it's been 4 months, coming up very soon that he gave his heart to the Lord. What a testimony.
Yeah.
What a testimony. Joe, this August should be 15 years. Now, I'm embarrassed to say I don't remember the exact date. I remember it was a Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah.
At that point in time, I was a captain in the military. I commanded a tank company. I was kind of like the centurion. When I told people to go, they went. Not like teenagers. Y'all don't listen real fast.
Please, will you go?
And no matter where I was, no matter what I did, I could stand on the beach of Hawaii. I could be on vacation. At 2 o'clock in the morning, I'd wake up and go, what's wrong with my life? And you know, I talk about this little girl because this mother and daughter, this single mom and her daughter that I had in school, that I had in band, was digging around some old church basement one time and opened up a church roster, and there was my name in the Sunday school class. And that kid went, Mr. Barnette went to church? Because my testimony at that moment was, Mr. Barnette didn't go to church. She went, I guess he did. Well, I got an idea. Let's start praying for him. So for 2 years, somebody I didn't even know was praying for me. Somebody I was with every day was praying for me. And I was wondering why I was becoming more miserable all the time. I was wondering why the things of this world that used to satisfy as much as they used to weren't
Come on, Todd.
satisfying anymore. You know, if you have come to the point in time where you have to look yourself in the mirror and say, it's not Mom's fault.
Yeah.
Well, hallelujah. Just a chance to keep preaching anyway. Hallelujah. It's not Dad's fault. It's not my wife's fault. See, the Lord worked good. It's my fault. Pride.
Come on, buddy.
You know, I would love to see 50 people at this altar here going to be giving their heart to the Lord.
Yeah.
You can give your heart to Jesus anywhere.
Amen.
I know it. Because I was sitting in my kitchen floor crying. You know, when you're growing up as a little kid, all them little old ladies that takes kids down in the basement, teaches Sunday school, and gives you Kool-Aid and cookies, and you may not remember too much about it. I joked. Somebody said one time, and I'm joking, so please go along with it. They said, "Are you going to heaven, Todd?" I said, "I sure am." When I was a kid, I was baptized by the Baptists, Nazarenes, Methodists. I was even sprinkled once by the Lutherans. Hallelujah. Every time there was cookies, Kool-Aid, vacation Bible school, I got dunked.
Come on, buddy. There's a lot of truth in that.
And I don't remember much about the Bible, particularly at that moment. I just remember somebody at some point in time as a kid taught me about the only Bible I could remember at that moment. I was this grown man sitting on the floor of his kitchen singing Jesus loves. Yes, I. For the Bible tells us,
Yeah.
little ones to him belong.
They are weak, but he is strong. Amen.
They are
Thank
weak.
you, Lord.
He is strong.
Amen.
You see, Naaman and all of us had to come to the realization, no matter how big you are, no matter how bad you are,
Come on, buddy.
no matter how well you can sing, no matter how far you can, or how fast you can throw that baseball, no matter how fast you can run, no matter how much money you have, no matter how popularity you have with this world, you have an incurable disease called sin.
Amen.
Yeah. I don't understand what's so bad about it. I just don't get it. Sometimes we take it so lightly when we come to consider one sin, one sin destroyed everything on this planet. I'm a leper, and nobody can fix that. But some 13-year-old girl's got the answer. Let me tell you something. You show me a 6-year-old that knows Jesus Christ, they're smarter than the smartest person at Harvard that doesn't.
Amen.
If you would go to that man and have him pray for you, he knows God.
Come on,
I'm
buddy.
telling you, when things go bad, and I want you to know I'm all for education. I hope the person that built that bridge that I crossed coming here got an A+ in bridge building. I hope the person that works on my teeth didn't get a D- in filling cavities. I'm all for education.
Come
but
on,
when
man.
times are tough and things are hard and I don't have answers, I don't pull that diploma down from college and hold it. I start calling upon
Come
God.
on, buddy. Amen.
If you do that, man, let me tell you something. I might be a slave and I may be taken from my house, but I know the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords.
I got a testimony. Let me give praise the Lord.
Well, I got to get there. I'm going to go to my King. Won't you let me? Listen, I'm going to humble myself to go to a country that we've whipped them so many times. But I'm going to go there because my back's against the wall.
Yeah, had no other choice.
Boy, isn't that like us when we come? You know, even church people are like that. Yeah. So many times, even as believers, we don't do what God wants us to until our backs are against the wall. My King, let me go there. We'll go. You take all this gold, you take all this silver, you take him 10 fine tuxedos. You go and ask the King of Israel. Well, that guy was as out of the will of God as you can imagine. But that's all he knew to do. I'm going to go to something. He's in Israel. Surely he knows what to do. Let me just share something with you. I could sit in the garage and call myself a Cadillac, but they don't make me one.
Amen.
I want to find somebody in that house that's just not sitting on a pew, but knows who they're singing about.
Amen.
Then they can point me in the right direction. You don't have to be a Bible scholar. Listen, it's great to memorize the Word of God. I'm not telling you not to do that. You read and pray, you'll get a blessing and you will grow tremendously. But if you can simply say, I don't know, but I know a man who can.
Yeah.
Remember that old song, Hallelujah?
Yeah.
Oh, why are you coming to me? You're just trying to start a fight. I can't do anything for you. And neither can the world. We live in a day and an age where nothing's sin anymore.
That's right.
The only thing morally wrong in this country is to say that something's morally wrong. Think about that one for a minute. You won't get blasted for anything except to stand up and say, that's wrong.
That's right.
But at least the King of Israel had enough sense. I can't help you. You see, everything that this world has can't fix anyone. It can't take the depression away. All it can do is put a Band-Aid on it. It can't take a hurt away. All it can do is put a Band-Aid on it. It can't take the guilt away. All it can do is put a Band-Aid on it. It can't take the grief away. All it can do is put a Band-Aid on it. I like to describe it like this. There's lots of things in this world that make you feel good, but if you're dying of cancer, if I shoot you full of morphine, you'll feel better. But you're not getting cured.
That's right, brother. We need a cure, don't we? Amen.
You go, I'm going to rent my clothes. We read these things in the Old Testament. We don't know what they meant. Tearing your clothes was like, I'm getting ready to die. Because you know what? I'm not going to give this guy the answer he wants to hear. And he's a bad dude. Elisha heard about it, though. We should be able to stick our chest out and say, I know this. Wait a minute, I'm going to back up. I know the answer. I know the way. And I know the truth. And I know the life. And his name is Jesus Christ. You know, I remember reading about this testimony of this young man that said my dad was an admiral in the Navy. He was on the Joint Chiefs of Staff. That may not mean too much to many of you in here. That means he was one of the most powerful men on this planet. That young man was so strung out on heroin, Dad had sent him to every rehab clinic and every this, that, and the other you can imagine. No hope. Finally, the dad goes to then, I believe, it was President Bush the first. Do you know anything you can do to help my son? He's like, I'm your friend, but I don't have that kind of power. So after he got out of his last rehab stint, he's driving around some country road in Florida. So far back up in the swamp, even the gators are afraid, probably. And it was one of them work sessions that they have at church. You know them work sessions, Pastor, where 12 are supposed to show up and it's the pastor and somebody else? So here's the pastor and one of the deacons at the work session. And here this young man's car mysteriously breaks down in front of the church. Hallelujah. He goes inside and something caused him to just start to tell his life story. And how he doesn't have a hope and how he doesn't have a chance. And that pastor went, son, you come to the right place. Amen. So Naaman goes to Elisha and he shows up at the front door with his posse with him. I'm sure they're all blinged out. Got their gold Mercedes-Benz chariots. Showing up with the music, the bass pumping in the background. Come out. Got people rolling red carpets in front of him, fanning him as he's walking up the door.
But he was elected.
Elisha! Naaman showed up. Elisha don't even walk out the door to greet him.
Ain't no big deal.
Sends his servant out.
Yes.
You go tell him, if he wants to get cured of this, you go jump in the Jordan River 7 times. Furious. How dare he not come up and kowtow to me and tell me how great I am and how wonderful I am and come out and do some kind of ritual over me. You know, get the magic 8 ball and throw it down or something. I don't know what they do in Israel. Whatever they're supposed to do, I want him to come out and do some kind of ceremony and make over me and wear some big kind of robe and pray for 3 hours. And
Bible said you got to humble yourself, don't you?
Yeah.
you just jump in the Jordan River 7 times. But aren't the rivers in my country cleaner than the Jordan? And actually they were. They were much prettier, but let me share something with you. Salvation is ugly from the outside. Looking at the cross is ugly. Looking at Calvary and how Jesus had to die for people's sins, it is not a beautiful sight until you get on the inside of it. Amen. And then it's the most beautiful thing you would ever imagine. Describing salvation to somebody is like trying to tell a blind person what a rainbow looks like. Amen. I'm asking people to trust me on faith that what is being offered to you is better than anything you've ever had. Amen.
Yeah.
The question I always ask people, is the life you've made better than the one Jesus paid for you to have? He gets mad, he wants to walk away. His servants come to him and said, listen, boss, we're not trying to take you off, but if he'd have told you to pick some big loop-de-doop, would you have done that? What have you got to lose?
That's right.
He was at the point where he was almost at the point of saying, I'd rather die of leprosy than lay down this pride. You know, it's amazing. When you come to God on His terms, He brings a whole lot more to the table than you bring. He did what the man of God told him to do. The answer was simple for a very complicated problem. You're dying and there's no cure. God has the answer. You humble yourself and obey, and let's see what happens. And when he jumps out the river the seventh time, it said his skin was like a little child. He was a new man. And you know what? When you become born again, something happens. You change. He came back and said, I know that there's no other God than the God of Israel. I know that. And as a matter of fact, I have to go back to my country. I'm going to take on this old horse of mine, I'm going to take 2 big loads of dirt with me so that when I pray, I'm going to pour it on the ground and pray upon the ground of Israel. Because when you change, when you really change, listen, I'm sick of death of people telling me they join church. I can care less about that testimony. And I love water baptism, but I don't want to hear that really that much either. I want to hear, I was born again.
Amen.
I don't care how many preacher's hands you shook, how much Kool-Aid and cookies you had as a kid. It didn't make you saved. That Jordan didn't make him saved. Humbling himself and coming to God. And it's the only thing. It's amazing. Jesus' methods don't change. No. To the blind man one day, he said, rise and be healed. And we still sing that little song about Zacchaeus climbing up a sycamore tree. Yeah. To Zacchaeus, he just said, come down, because all ground is level at the foot of the cross.
Amen.
We all come the same way, because we've all got the same problem. Yeah. And thank God, we only need one solution. I remember watching this show, and I'm going to close. I'm going to go way old school here, Pastor.
You do.
Some of y'all my age and older are smiling. I remember watching one of these Where Are They Now shows. Talking about the guy, lead singer of 3 Dog Night. Jeremiah was a bullfrog. I shouldn't even sing that in church, forget it.
You're going somewhere.
Where are they going? Where are they now?
Uh-huh.
And he's sitting on a street corner in Hollywood.
Listen.
So strung out.
Listen.
Needle tracks up his arm. On top of the world one day.
At the bottom of the list.
And they said, are you going to beat it? He goes, I'm going to beat it one day. You see, that's what the world thinks. There's only one solution. When I think about what Christ paid for us, for each of us. And I'm going to share something with you. If you're sitting in here and you're born again, you're 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, you're wondering what kind of witness I've got. You walk into a mission field every day.
Yes, sir.
The moment you get off the school bus. There is more facing this nation today than ever before.
Amen.
And the only solution I know for is Jesus Christ and Him. Amen. Bow your heads with me, please. Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you for this opportunity here this afternoon, and I've just felt the love of God in this place. You can fake a lot of things, but you can't fake the love of God. And you can't buy it either. You can't earn it either. Sitting out among us, I imagine, are some people that do not know Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior. They've heard about Him. They've heard Him sung about. But to actually have them say, I've given my life to Him. Their son and giver have not. And I always wonders, why do you want to keep the leprosy with you? Why do you want to keep the leprosy with you? Why do you want to hang on one more day to the fear, the anxiety, the pain, the guilt, the shame, or the destruction? And oh, by the way, if you say that's not happening, just wait. That's what sin ultimately does. I'm asking you right now, if you do not know Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, I'm going to ask you to do the same thing that Elisha asked Naaman, and that's to humble himself.
Yep.
To come down here
Gotta do it.
and come up to this little bench, it's called an altar, and we'll pray with you. It doesn't have to be a long prayer, it just has to come from your heart. I'm asking with all eyes closed and all heads bowed right now. Do you truly know this man named Jesus Christ? And if you don't, there's no better time than me. Hallelujah. I'm going to ask, I hear people tuning, Zack, whatever the Lord's put on your heart, if you would play. And while he's playing, the call is still open. It's the same call that Jesus gave Matthew. It's the same call Elisha gave Naaman. Come. 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 Come.
My sleep is gone, my heart is full of sorrow. I can't believe how much I've let you down.
Why carry it anymore?
I dread the pain that waits for me.
Pride is the only thing standing between you and knowing
when the sun
the Lord God Almighty.
feels my broken dreams
Pride.
shattered on the ground. Please forgive me.
Will you
Need
come?
your grace to make it through. All I have is you. That's your mercy.
The longer you wait, the deeper Satan's
Lord,
get in you.
I'll serve
Come.
till my dying days. Help others find the way. That's your mercy. Please forgive me. I can't believe the God of earth and glory take the time to care for one like me. But I read in the Bible that old story,
Will you come?
how he bled for my forgiveness while he was dying on a tree. Please forgive me. I need your grace to make it through. All I have is you, that's your mercy. And Lord, I'll serve you till my dying days. Help others find the way. I'm at your mercy. Please forgive me.
All eyes closed, all heads bowed.
Mind the Lord.
If the Lord's touched you and spoken to you, and listen, I don't trick nobody. I'm not doing this to come back and drag you to an altar or nothing. Nobody's going to come and harass you. I don't mean that. But if you simply want me to pray for you this week and just pray that the Lord would be with you, speak to you, just simply raise your hand and put it back down. Hallelujah. Amen. Amen.